Next on Worcester News tonight, recreational marijuana could be legal as soon as next week. We'll tell you how city councilors are planning to regulate it. Plus, new changes coming to downtown Worcester. We'll bring you more from a planning meeting tonight and what you can expect. Thanks for joining us. I'm Catherine Andrioli. Massachusetts is set to legalize marijuana next week after ballot question 4 was approved by more than 1 million voters. Our Rosalind Flaherty has more on how Worcester City Council is looking to regulate new marijuana businesses that may come to Worcester.
I think most of us have agreed that this is a very complex problem.
In a little more than a week, the use of recreational marijuana is scheduled to become legal in Massachusetts. The Worcester City Council is looking at their options to regulate it.
I don't want to see these pot shops, if you will, opening up randomly across the city. I think they should be controlled.
Retail stores will not be able to open until 2018. City Councilor George Russell says the state legislature will be talking about putting rules in place. But the question locally is, will shops even be allowed in Worcester? And if they are, they should be zoned.
We can control where they're located, because the last thing we want to do is have these kinds of businesses located in residential areas or areas where they would not properly fit.
Paul Shays is the third-generation owner of John Shays Upholstering on Water Street. He says since bars have come, they have been seeing problems.
Throw up on the streets, on my doorsteps, trash, as in bottles, nips, 7 or 8 broken windows in the last 2 years alone, graffiti on the sides of the building.
Shays says if a marijuana shop were to open near his business, it would only add to the chaos.
I don't know where, but somewhere safe, regulated, cameras, patrolled.
City Councilor Connie Luke says this is the beginning of a long process and wouldn't be surprised if the state delays the legalization. She would like to not see the sale within the city limits.
We have a serious problem in determining how the law as it stands now is going to be implemented. It is vague, it is contradictory, it is overly broad, and in order to deal with it, it's going to require, I think, a lot of oversight.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A public information meeting at Union Station tonight discussed updated plans in the revitalization project of downtown Worcester. Members of the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission hosted a question and answer session. Attendees got to see a presentation outlining the Worcester Main Streetscape project. The project aims to bring more people downtown by improving safety for walkers and bicyclists.
Obviously, we looked at safety, trying the sidewalks are in poor condition. They don't meet ADA. The wheelchair ramps don't meet the ADA requirements. The pavement's in poor condition. There's really no accommodations for bicycles, and in general, there's very little in the way of streetscape design.
And Walk Bike Worcester supports the proposed design. The project is estimated to cost between $8.5 and $9.5 million. Organ donors and recipients are celebrated tonight during the Gift of Life celebration at UMass Memorial Medical Center. Living donors, recipients, and families attended the event hosted by UMass Transplant Services. The event recognized the success of patients who received an organ transplant at UMass and the impact the program has made on those who suffered from life-threatening illness. One recipient and his donor say they're grateful for the opportunity to help one another.
It's changed my life tremendously. I was really sick before it. I have polycystic kidney disease, so both my kidneys were failing. So when Melinda stepped up to the plate and donated to me.
So I called the hospital and said, what do I do? And they led me through the process, and I just felt connected because I lost my dad to kidney cancer when he was just 53.
And the two say they didn't know each other before the organ donation process. Both say they are doing well and grateful for the opportunity to speak at the event. The city will be looking for a new buyer for the former courthouse. The city manager announced developer Brady Sullivan Properties will be ending their sale agreement. The city plans to keep the $120,000 deposit. Brady Sullivan agreed to purchase the building back in 2015 for $1.2 million. Their plan was to convert the building into apartments with retail space. The city now plans to post a request for information to interested developers. City Manager Ed Augustus says he's confident the city will be able to find a qualified developer to work on the historic property. And more than a dozen towns in Worcester County are participating in a gun buyback program this Saturday. The event aims to get people who are not properly storing their firearms to return them for gift cards. Dr. Michael Hirsch says this is a great idea for the city because buying back guns costs far less than treating a gunshot wound. He says between surgery and intensive care, it's possible that rehab can cost an average of $50,000.
The 15 years of the program, we've gotten about 2,800 weapons altogether at the cost of about $50 a weapon. But the total cost for the 15 years has been less than the cost of taking care of 3 gunshot wound patients.
Hirsch also says compared to similar cities in New England, Worcester has one of the lowest gunshot wound totals. If you would like to return a gun, you can visit each of the town's police departments participating in the gun buyback event. And today is the 75th anniversary of the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, plunging the U.S. into World War II. 2,403 Americans died during the attack on Pearl Harbor, and more than 1,100 were wounded. The thousands of Americans killed were honored in Hawaii and celebrated at a special ceremony. Dozens of veterans made the trip back to Pearl Harbor to celebrate with one another and catch up with old friends. And right here in Central Mass, many were remembering and thanking World War II veterans on this somber day in American history. Our Andy Madison has the story.
The ceremony started off with all veterans being recognized for their service. On the 75th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attacks, they were glad to help a younger generation remember the day.
I guess I'm happy to be here. I don't get out too often as a veteran.
The Auburn Senior Center held a Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day event, which included a performance by students from Swanson Road Intermediate School.
You hear the songs all your life, and still, they're always good to listen to.
It's so important for the kids to understand, what happened in Pearl Harbor, and the vets, people who give their lives each and every day, every year, for our freedoms.
Although no one at today's ceremony was stationed at Pearl Harbor, they remember what happened after the attack. Budzinski was at Camp Pendleton on December 7th, 1941.
We did go as far as Japan, away from Iwo Jima, and wound up in Japan.
The 75th anniversary comes the same year Worcester paid tribute to World War II veterans with this new memorial.
It's hard to believe it's been so long.
75 years later, these veterans paused to reflect on the milestone anniversary of the attacks.
Memorials are great. It's a good way to remember, immortalize everything, And I think the younger generation should know more about their history.
Andy Madison, Worcester News Tonight.
And several places around Worcester held drives collecting food, toys, and those for those less fortunate groups. Our Olivia Lemon spent the day talking to different groups and what they're doing for the less fortunate.
Ho, 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 ho! Sergeant Santa is on duty at Quinsigamond Community College Wednesday. The campus police department is hosting a Stuff a Cruiser event.
We help out a lot of QCC students and families that are in need.
Sergeant Joseph Checky is Santa. He says toys and money donated will help students who cannot afford presents for their family this holiday season.
Anything that people can donate, we're out here to help out.
As people are driving by, they're stopping and seeing us, and they're giving us donations as well, and they're coming back with toys and gifts.
Meanwhile, Assumption College is holding their 18th annual Tickets for Tots program. It gives students a chance to donate while also redeeming up to 2 parking tickets they received on campus.
We do hand out a lot, and for them it's a win-win though, because a ticket is pricey and this doesn't go on their record.
All toys donated will go to the U.S. Marine Corps' Toys for Tots program, while the cash donations will go to the Telegram Santa Fund.
It allows them to sit there and do something different as opposed to just paying a fine. It makes them feel good about having that ticket, where most people normally when they get a ticket they don't feel good about having to pay it.
Yeah, last year we raised over $40,000 for Worcester County and 12,000 pounds of food.
Wednesday, Suzanne and Greg from WSRS were out at Price Chopper for the 24th annual Feed Worcester County Food Drive. Every year, the radio station partners with the Worcester County Food Bank to help families in need during the holiday season.
We give it all to the Worcester County Food Bank, and they just do wonders with it.
Thousands of pounds of food are collected at the drive. The food bank says this past year they helped more than 90,000 families.
You get a lot of generosity during the holidays, which is very helpful.
Olivia Lemon, Worcester.